The Indiana Hoosiers, 4-0 right now. Their head coach is Tom Allen, who joins us on the program. Coach, congratulations. How surprised are you that you're 4-0 right now going into the Ohio State game?
Well, thanks, Dan. Appreciate you having me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm surprised because I'm not. Our team has built into this point for the last several years. I'm sure not everybody agrees with my assessment, but in terms of our locker room and our players, if you talk to them, they would give you a similar response.
Your voice sounds about 8 games into a season, not 4 games into a season, Coach. You got to take care of that voice.
Yeah, I need to, but I don't do a very good job of that. I do quite a bit of yelling.
You do? Do the players understand? Like, if you yell, do the players know they're in trouble, or they're just that's how you coach them?
Well, they'll know the difference. I'm usually pretty loud in general, but it'll change in tone when it's not positive. But I like coach with a lot of energy, so I do a lot of communicating with our team and try to reinforce the good and the bad.
Well, also no fans, so the players can't say, "Hey, I didn't hear you, Coach."
That's right. They can hear everything now.
What did you think when you watched the Ohio State tapes?
It's impressive. The thing that jumps out to me is just Justin Fields. I mean, he never hardly throws any incompletions. I mean, it's amazing how he's so accurate and he's just playing at an extremely high level. They're always, every year we play him, they look similar in terms of they're just so big and physical. A lot of great athletes. Scheme is really, really good. Very well coached, but when you got a player like Justin Fields, that's why I thought last year's team was different than the previous teams we played against because of his ability to throw the football so accurately and so effectively. And then his athleticism is elite as well. So he's what makes them really, really special, I think.
Makes them different than when Dwayne Haskins was there?
Yeah, because he can run it and throw it. Dwayne was just a passer, and the run threat wasn't the same. Whereas now you have the passing ability and the running ability that I think is extremely high level. So it puts a ton of stress on the defense. What
is your message? Do you already know what you're going to say to your team before they take the field against Ohio State?
I got an idea. It kind of builds throughout the week. I kind of, take a lot in, pray about it, ponder a lot of things, figure out what they need to hear at that moment. Obviously, the preparation matters more than that final, charge to our team. But at the same time, we got to play with a ton of confidence and we just got to go there and let it rip. It's a great opportunity for sure, but we're playing a team that Indiana hasn't beaten very frequently in the past.
Maybe you should watch Miracle on Ice with Herb Brooks and get that speech and maybe sprinkled that in. Your kids might not be aware of that speech, Coach, so you could sample from Herb Brooks and maybe that'll resonate with your kids.
Yeah, you never know, but I don't think our guys think it's going to take a miracle. We just got to play our best football.
Why not an 8-team playoff this year? If you look at, what you guys have been through, college football has been through, you're not sure how many games you're going to play. It's not going to be the same number with the SEC and the ACC and Big 12. Isn't it really crying out for an 8-team playoff this year?
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. I think it would make a ton of sense. There's so many things. There's going to be so many inequities with everybody's schedule, number of games played, and how do you decide what matters, or what number do you come up with when the kids have no control over any of that? So it'd be a perfect time to expand it to that number. So it doesn't look like that's going to happen, but it sure would make a whole lot of sense.
What was that feeling like in the locker room when you beat Penn State in overtime?
It was unbelievable. Just a culmination of a lot of things. This is a room full of guys that believed in the vision that we had for this program, even when many did not believe. And these guys did. That's why they came here, coaching staff included. And so it was a special, special time. It was a great, great feeling, and one I'll never forget.
It's one thing when you're a coach and you see one of your players out there injured. It's another thing, I'm sure, when you look out there and you see that it's your son, Thomas, a reserve linebacker, who got injured. What's that like as not a coach, but a parent when you're watching what's going on?
Yeah, it rips your heart out. It's just, it is a little different. I have to be honest with you when it's your son. And I didn't know at the time how serious it was, but when I got out there and our medical guys whispered to me that it was a dislocated hip, I couldn't believe it. I knew that was a serious injury. And so my heart just sank because I knew his season was over. And obviously even his whole future was in jeopardy. So, but he's a tough kid and you got to be able to separate the two. But man, I love him with my whole heart. And he's a special young man. We've been through a lot together. So, but he had surgery yesterday, and he's on his road back to recovery.
Yeah, it's one thing for you. You gotta coach a game. How did Mom feel about that? Watching.
Yeah, that's really hard. Well, it's all the travel and everything, so she wasn't even at the game, and so
No.
I had our DFO call her immediately because obviously she saw what happened when watching the game, but didn't know the details, and just tried to get her to be able to stay informed, and so that made it really, really difficult on her for sure. So, but it's part of being in this profession and part of being what we do. We've kind of learned to got to have thick skin and got to be tough.
How many jobs have you had?
This is my 11th school that I've been at. That includes high school and college. So number 11.
Yeah, and you were at Newcastle High School, right?
That's correct. That's where I went to school, played for my dad.
A couple years after Steve Alford?
Yes, he's 5 years older than me. I was a 7th grader when he was a senior.
And he would pack, so you watched him in that gym. What's that gym seat, 10,000?
10,000. That's an unbelievable high school arena. How about that? 10,000. Towns only got 20,000.
What was it like, though, to watch Steve Alford in high school?
Oh, unbelievable. Every game was sold out. I'd sit there and I'd keep track of his, they didn't have a 3-pointer back then. So I keep track of all of his points, all of his shots, all of his free throws. He never missed any free throws. Unbelievable. But his dad was the head coach for basketball, obviously. And so, pretty special time. He was so fun to watch, and I've always looked up to him.
I wonder, what would he have averaged with a 3-point shot back then in high school?
Gosh, we averaged 37 without it. So you had to think it's got to be mid to upper 40s, which is unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, who's the biggest name out of Newcastle High School?
Steve Alford.
Oh, okay. Well, if you beat Ohio State.
Yeah. Well, hey, one day at a time.
Congrats. I'm old enough to remember when Indiana was competitive back in the 80s. I think the running back was Mike Harkrader, and I think he ran for 1,000 yards. Coach Corso was there. Yeah. I go back a long way. Now, I grew up an Ohio State fan, but I remember when Indiana used to be okay. But you brought him back. I mean, this is more than bringing him back. This is something that Indiana football hadn't seen in a long, long, long time. So congratulations on that, and good luck against Ohio State.
Thank you, Dan. I sure appreciate it. Have an awesome day. Elio.
That's Tom Allen.